We have a very special guest here hanging out with us here today. We also have Get Client students here watching this live. We're in Profit and Freedom. We're over on YouTube. We're on Facebook as well. So today what we're going to be talking about is how to grow your Facebook organically so that you can start signing up clients consistently, for some of you daily, some of you weekly, getting started. And so I'm super pumped today to have the founder of Pepper, Franco Urbaez. Am I saying that right, Urbaez?
Urbaez. Yeah.
Urbaez. It's a very unique last name, even though it probably is like a Hispanic Mexican heritage background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
so if you're watching this live and you can hear and see us, then type live or type here. Would love to say hey and make sure that everything here is working correctly. And let's just do a little introduction of Franco here. So give me 1 second, and then we're gonna just get into some Q&A and get you some help landing some clients. So Franco is a 2 Comma Club award winner. You guys have seen the plaques, the ClickFunnels plaques. He has a few of them, and he's an award-winning entrepreneur who's running 3 businesses, and also is a successful digital marketing coach. He helps agency owners, coaches, consultants, and his programs, his software have helped hundreds of students successfully start and scale their agencies. He has a company, it's called Dream Big Media, that launched initially after the need, just like most of us here, wanting to break free from the 9-to-5 job. And so for aspiring entrepreneurs stuck in their own prisons, he considers himself an old cellmate that has successfully made his prison break and is now coming back to help you to escape your 9-to-5 rat race as well. Franco's mission is to help big dreamers of the world take risks, defy the odds, achieve the impossible, and ultimately change the world. We're stoked to have him here with us. Franco, thanks so much for being with us here today, and congrats on the new baby.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the congrats on the baby. Scary experience, but praise God, everybody is good and happy and healthy. So yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for the intro.
Of
Hey,
course.
everybody on YouTube and Facebook and everything like that. And Jeremy's right. If you have any questions at all, organic marketing, pepper related, anything at all, I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. So drop them in the comments.
Absolutely. Franco, would just love a little bit of a background, man. Like, how did you get into this whole, I know you wanted to leave your day job. What were you doing? What got you into digital marketing? And how did you kind of start helping agency owners, coaches, and building these successful businesses?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely stumbled my way into the world of digital marketing, but I remember it was because I was working as a warehouse manager and I was making like $27 an hour, and I was being paid like not only that, but like benefits and all these different things they give you is kind of like a trap, right? Like they give you just enough to get by, but never enough to get ahead, right? And so I remember I was in front of the assembly line, and all they were paying me all this money, and I just take a box off, I would put it over here, and I would just open it up like an Amazon box, right? And then be able to see what's going on there, tape it back up, and then put it back onto the assembly line, and that's what they were paying me for, right? And I just felt like I was dying inside. I felt like like my spirit was just like dying inside because of the work that I was doing, and that's when I started to have my eyes peeled for everything that was out there and potentially like in the make money online space. I don't know if you're familiar, Jeremy, with Ty Lopez at all. Are you familiar with Ty? Right?
Most
Okay.
definitely.
So yeah, so he came out years ago. He came out with this program called SMMA, Social Media Marketing Agency, and I remember that was the first webinar I ever attended, right? And I remember like when I bought the thing, right? And it was like $1,000, and I was like, I've never spent $1,000 on just education like this. And then my wife, I just told her, I was like, hey, we're gonna be rich. Like this is the thing. This is the ticket out of here. All the different things, right? And so I ended up quitting my job way too soon. I had about $18,000 in the bank account, right? And then I started doing everything that the course taught, which is like cold calling, cold emailing, door-to-door selling, all these different things. And then I for 4 months of that, right, I just like lost and spent all of the money that I had saved up, like $18,000. So I had no money, at all in my bank account, and then I had no money coming in at all, right? So no income, no money in the bank, and my wife and I, we say this all the time because my stove didn't work, right? The oven didn't work, and also the microwave didn't work for a couple months. We were literally eating food off a stovetop, and that's what we had to do every single night and stuff. And we were living off of credit. I had to make a decision: am I going to go get a job, or am I going to stick this thing out and make this entrepreneurial thing work? And we decided to live off of credit for a little while. And I don't know if you're going to Funnel Hacking Live. Are you familiar with Funnel Hacking Live?
Heard of it, have not been yet though.
Yeah. Okay. So Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, Funnel Hacking Live. I went there for the first time like about 4 years ago, and I remember I was sitting in the audience, and I was a Russell Brunson like fanboy at the time, right? And so he was like pitching on like third day of the event. He was like pitching all of us, and I texted my wife. She stayed at home. I texted her, and I said like, "Baby, Russell's pitching me. I have no idea what to do now, right? Like I there's nothing I can do." And then she just texts back, and she just says, "I trust you, baby," right? And you kind of want her to say like. We can't afford it, right? Like we can't like afford it or anything like that. How much is it, right? And at the time he said it was $1,800 a month, which was more than our mortgage. And then when she said, "I trust you, baby," I had to make a decision. So I decided to hire him coach. And literally, what he told us to do, obviously, is build a funnel. But after building a funnel, he told me to go live on Facebook, and I spent 3 days going live on Facebook and getting people into that funnel. And I booked 10 sales calls for the following week, and I closed 7 of them on a $12,000 program, right? Which was $84,000 in sales. And I did that in 6 days, all from my Facebook profile. Right. So that was like about 4 years ago. And that's how I stumbled into the world, just listening to a coach, hiring a coach, telling to do organic marketing. And I started to do the process. And then I made $84,000, which is more than my entire annual salary the year before. And ever since then, I just kind of refined the process. And we've made over $1 million. We're at $1 million a year, all from my Facebook profile. I haven't refined that process. So that's kind of how I got to this place. And in that process, created a really cool software that helped automate everything for us.
That's quite the journey, and it goes to show that when you are making the right decisions and also investing in yourself and playing full out, almost unfortunately, like I think that we're a lot alike in the sense that like my back has to be up against the wall in order for me to have big breakthroughs. Otherwise, they'll never happen. And you have the odds kind of stacked against you. You're raising a brand new family. You wanted to leave your day job. Wasn't really sure going to spend more than mortgage for 1 month of coaching. And I think we've all, as coaches, consultants, we've kind of been in a spot like that. It's just really cool to see how you pushed through and how you made it through in the sense of you invested in yourself, you believed it was going to work, and you made it happen. Can you chat more a little bit on, maybe how the impact of using Facebook specifically and how you didn't run ads, it doesn't sound like, you didn't do anything super fancy, you did the basics and that up and going. Can you share with us a little bit more kind of on that mindset and what you observed and saw happen during that week where you were focused in on going live and getting people into your new funnel?
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a real epiphany. Like, it was just like because I started doing the content, the Facebook Lives, and what he told you to do because he said like, "Hey, tonight I want you all to go and do this, right? And just like go and do a Facebook Live, talk about this and stuff like that, right?" But just, I was like passionate about what was happening. It was like my life was being changed before my eyes, and I was just sharing that stuff. And then I started to get people DMing me, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna, I didn't have a funnel built, and I thought you needed to have a funnel built because I was there. Like I'm just a noob, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend 3 days building out this funnel, all these different things, and then I'm just telling people on Facebook Live, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, right? And then building up some pressure around it. And so when I launched it, then we had like those 10 people like come in, and I just remember I was just like my life was being changed right before my eyes. I was with my dad in a truck, with his trucking company, just trying to help him out in Florida and stuff like that. And I'm just like in the passenger seat, I'm like, look at all these calls that were coming in. Another application, another application, another application came in. I was like, oh my gosh, right? And then now getting excited for the sales calls that were going to happen the following week. So I think it was just a realization, right, that off of Facebook, okay, there was people already out there that need help, they need solutions, they need help. And for me, just to say, hey, I can serve you and I can help you accomplish this goal that you have for yourself, right? And then people saying, yes, please give it to me, let me talk to you, and then just turning those into clients that pay you high ticket, it was just life changing for me. So that's what it happened. That's how it started, right? But over the years, it kind of evolved. Because at first it was just what we call like attraction marketing. It's just you're putting out content, and then people are coming to you and saying like, hey, I resonate with you, I resonate with your content, I resonate with everything that you're doing, I love what you're doing, right? How can you help me? Okay. And that's how it started, right? And then over the years, I kind of like made some tweaks to the process I'm happy to share, to kind of turbocharge and accelerate our growth with organic marketing.
Yeah, we definitely want to get tactical with you here in a few minutes. I guess what I would love to hear is, there's probably some people watching this now or in the next couple weeks and months with a replay that might think or feel that organic marketing, specifically on Facebook, has died out, that it's not a thing anymore, that it doesn't work. So I guess my question for you is, in today's day and age, paid versus organic, uh, is organic still working? Maybe what are some of those differences there in today's day and age versus paid? And just from your perspective, is organic and organic on Facebook still as good as it was? Can it still work?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Now, there's something to be said with trends, right? There's something to be said with surges and stuff like that, right? But the people, like even today, right? And you think of everyone is influenced. Everyone is influenced by what people think and the inputs they receive from other people, right? So if you're hearing Facebook organic marketing is dead, right? It's the same people that said websites are dead. It's the same people that said email is dead or cold calling is dead. Well, if that's true, right, then nobody would do it anymore. Okay, but the fact is that it's continuing to grow, it's continuing to accelerate, right? And it's very easy. Just it's the nature of the technology in organic marketing. It's the nature of technology, especially with Facebook, right? You are sending friend requests, you're sending connections inside of Facebook where you can find your dream clients, you can find where they are, right? And you can reach out to them and you can start conversations with them. Okay. Now people are going to receive DMs. Now the reality is that yeah, maybe some people are aware of organic marketing. Okay. So you don't have an element of surprise or something like that, right? Maybe they get messages on a frequent basis. But the reality is that if you are just starting a conversation now with somebody and you start off the conversation right, then people are going to be people. Okay, they're going to connect with you and they're going to continue those conversations, and then from there you can just navigate somebody, and if you're good at what you do like we are in extracting the pain that people are experiencing, that people are feeling and trying to achieve their goals, and you can recite it back to them in a way that makes them feel like you know exactly what they're going through, then when that happens, it will naturally lead to a sales conversation. It will naturally lead to a conversation over Zoom or over the phone or whatever the case is, where you can actually go and pitch them on your services and help people. So absolutely 100% organic marketing still does work. In fact, I would argue that it is continuing to grow just because of the nature of the technology. It's super easy to find somebody, start a conversation with them, navigate the conversation inside a messenger onto a bot call. So yeah, um, it's it's literally so much easier than cold calling or cold emailing or anything else or any other type of prospecting, loom outreach, or all these different things, right? It's just one on one, so easy to find a business owner, so easy to start a conversation with them, right? And if they're not a douchebag or something like that, right, they will continue the conversation with you and just answer your questions if you know what you're doing inside a messenger.
Absolutely. And I know you have, some frameworks and some, play by plays for how you handle your process for getting clients off of Facebook, which I think some folks here would love to see here in a couple minutes for sure. Before that, you have three businesses. I'm curious. I think I'm aware of two of them, but kind of what are, for those who are new here, new to you, what are the three businesses? How do they all kind of interact together or play together if they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had more businesses than three, but I'm actually happy that we've like simplified it, right? And I'm like trying to like get out of it, right? But the way that I think about building businesses is, when you're first starting to build a business, okay, it's very much like a baby, okay. It takes all your time, attention, energy, effort, right, and it keeps you up at night and all those different things, right? And then finally becomes a toddler, and then a teenager, and then an adult, and it can stand on its own 2 feet, right? And that's kind of how you want to build a business. So when you are, I have to just say this disclaimer because yes, I have three businesses, right, but I didn't build them all at once, okay, because that would be like me having triplets, right, and that would just be a nightmare, a nightmare, right, to actually build three businesses like that. So the one business that I have, right, it's a trucking company, right, and literally when I was working 80-hour weeks, I'm making the same amount of money now that I was when I was working 80-hour weeks, and I literally, gave my team the last 5 minutes worth of work a week just this past week. Okay, so I do nothing there. I still get paid the same because I'm an owner in the business and now I own it, and another team manages it and runs it. Okay, if that makes sense. So trucking company there. The coaching business is what I also have, and that coaching business, I'm a coach for agency owners. We help people start and scale a digital marketing agency to 6 and 7 figures. So that's how I used to have a marketing agency, and we kind of put that on pause when I found to get more satisfaction, more fulfillment, more contribution from helping other agency owners do the same. We've been able to have our clients and our students get to $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 months with their digital marketing agency. So that's the one business that we had, and that's kind of how the necessity of what I needed to happen, because I was all through my Facebook profile. That's how my third business was born, which was Pepper, right? And which is a software that helps automate everything I was doing on Facebook to get coaching clients for myself. And that's how we created Pepper. So those are the three.
Love that, and I think that segues in perfectly. I know we're going to get into. I'm going to switch the order up a little bit here, because I would love for anyone here who doesn't know to kind of be introduced to and kind of figure out who is Pepper, what's this Pepper thing you speak of, or who is she. So just give us a rundown. Who is Pepper, and let's start there, and then we can start to get kind of strategic and tactical together.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So Pepper is the software that I created, right? That automates organic marketing on Facebook, right? And so when I was first starting out, you remember I talked about in my story that like all I did was do some Facebook Lives, and I was reaching out to people just behind the camera, just reaching out to people, or I'm sorry, just putting out content like that, and then people start to reach out to me. They start to send me DMs, right? And so through this process, I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, how do I turbocharge this process? How do I what if instead of me just putting out content, was there a way for me to actually reach out to other people? And I remember I was in bed one night thinking through this, and I had the epiphany. I found these Facebook groups, and I remember when I found these Facebook groups, I ran downstairs and I told Haley, my wife, I said, like, baby, look, there's 7,000 people inside of this Facebook group, right, that need my services, need my solution, right? Like, we're gonna be rich, right? I keep telling her that. We're gonna be rich, right? And then then I started to do my attraction marketing and the content I was putting out, not on my personal profile. I started to do it in these Facebook groups. And then very quickly what happened was I got kicked out. I got booted, and I got, kicked out of these Facebook groups. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, I had to figure this thing out, because other people out there were compiling like my dream clients into one space, okay, which is the hardest part, right? But these Facebook groups are growing and continue to stay and continue. They're just going to stay here, right? So then I found other Facebook groups, and I found like 70,000 members. You can have 70,000 members in a Facebook group, and it was like blowing my mind. So I was lying down there in bed, and I was thinking, like, okay, you know what? Like, here's the epiphany that I had. It's just like, okay, Facebook gives you 5,000 friends, okay, 5,000 friends you can have on Facebook. I said, what if all of my 5,000 friends were people who I wanted to see my content, right? What if I filled up my friends list with all the people that I wanted to see my content? So what I did was I go into the Facebook group and I went into the member section, and then we started to add friends. And I would just add friends and all those different things to get people into my world. And then when I did that, right, like more things evolved and stuff like that. And I don't know, Jeremy, if you have more questions around it, I can continue to go. But ever since that process happened, right, after I started to, add all those friends, those people, I had the epiphany, those people actually started to reach out to me and DM me from the people that I actually sent friend requests to. And then the attraction marketing was actually working, because they would go to my profile and they would see my content and they would reach out to me. So it was really cool. That was an epiphany that I had. And then Pepper was kind of built around sending friend requests out, sending starting the turbocharge welcome messages, and then creating a CRM, and like there's so many different things that I'd love to go into.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for anybody who used Facebook organically to grow your Facebook profile and in the process of and the intention of getting clients, you know how much work it takes. You know that once you're, let's say you figured out that, yeah, there's a bunch of people in groups, because we all have that same kind of light bulb moment that Franco had and ran downstairs and shared with his wife Haley about. But there's also the other feeling you get with, like, okay, well, how do I think the next question for most is one of two things, is how do I use groups, other people's groups, and not be spammy or weird? How do I not get kicked out? And then also, this process can take some time, some effort, and energy. How can I make it easier? And so I think that would be just kind of the perfect place to start with. Maybe how does it work, and giving us an inside look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so for like, do you want to tackle like, which question do you want to tackle first? Like the how to not get kicked out of Facebook groups?
Why don't we go to that one last, and we'll go into
Okay,
more of
cool.
this more into Pepper right now, and then we'll talk about that last part because I think that can be a little nuanced.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. So for me, when we were having this problem around like like sending friend requests out, like organic marketing, okay, typically takes a lot of time. Okay, I say typically because we solved that problem, right? But it typically takes a lot of time. What we had to do was we were sending out friend requests every single day in the members area of different Facebook groups that I knew my ideal clients were hanging out in. Okay. And so I was just doing this and skipping over people and just making sure that we were adding the right people to my friends list. Because why? I wanted them to watch my content and I wanted them to reach out to me. Then I thought to myself, okay, how do we turbocharge this process? What if I were to send out a welcome message to them first to start the conversation up? Okay. And then when I did that, right, these people, a certain percentage of them would actually respond positively back. Okay. Especially when I had my Facebook profile optimized. They would look at my Facebook profile and found out that I was this person that could potentially help them and solve them. And they got a first instant reaction. Their knee jerk reaction of who I was like, okay, this person is an expert. This person is an authority. This person could potentially help me in the problems that I have. And then they would, positively respond in what we call a welcome message, the first conversation, the first message that I sent to start a conversation with them. So, but the problem is that we had to go into these Facebook groups, and then I had to go into the members area, and I had to scroll and scroll and scroll, and then add friend, add friend, add friend, skip over this person, skip over this person. I remember the first time we did that, when I got so excited about it, I sent out 130 friend requests, okay? And then the next morning, I realized like I got 70 plus notifications on Facebook, and I was like, what happened overnight? Like, what happened? And it was all these people accepting my friend requests. And I realized like, oh man, like this is awesome. So what we had to do was we had to click on every single one of those notifications, open up their profile, and then send them click on the message button to send them a welcome message to start the conversation with them, right? And that was very time consuming. Okay. And then what happened was over time as this evolved, okay, we actually had more, the same, we had the same exact conversations because we knew exactly the person we were speaking to, and we knew exactly how to take them from hi to sure, let's get on a call together, right? There's these steps that we take somebody through inside of our messenger framework, which again I'm happy to share. But as we did that, okay, then what happened was we had the same exact phrases and objection handling and all these different things that we used as sticky notes all over our desktop, and all you would do is copy and paste in the same conversations inside of Messenger over and over and over again. Okay. And it just became really, really messy. And then on top of that, what's more is that in Facebook, in Messenger specifically, there is a specific URL, okay, a specific URL with every single person you're having a conversation with. So what we would do with all of these leads that were coming up inside of our Facebook, I would grab that URL and I would put them into what we had is teamwork, which is like we set it up as a Kanban board so we can just advance the sales pipeline and see where everybody was in our pipeline. But the problem with that was that you can start a conversation with somebody and then 7 minutes later like schedule a call with them, right? So we had to update this constantly. It just became a hot mess. So we were making a lot of money, but it was taking so much time. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, this is a problem. Let me go ahead and hand this off to my executive assistant, Liz. And so she started to do the process, right? And then I was free to do everything else. And I was like, it takes so much time, but we can't let go of it. Okay, this is something we have to do. So we give it off to Liz. And then when Liz was taking care of this, she couldn't handle any other projects I was giving her, right? And it was so much for her. And it was at that point when this was consuming all of her time that I thought to myself, there's got to be something out there. There's got to be a some sort of software out there that helps this process. And there wasn't. Okay, there wasn't any software out there to help with this process. So then what ended up happening was I was like, okay, the out of box thinker that I am, I said, okay, I'm going to build it. Okay, and we started to talk to developer after developer after developer, and everyone said, no, you can't automate this. No, you can't. It's not possible on Facebook. And then after a couple months of this, we spoke to the last developer, and the last developer told me I could, right? Like, yes, you can do this, and we can do this, right? And at that point, I had given up, and I thought that he was just trying to take my money. So I told him no. And then luckily, 2 days later, he actually gave me a prototype of what it could look like, right?
Wow.
And my wife and I, like, we have a date night every Wednesday. And so when I saw this prototype, I was driving home from the office to take my wife out on a date, and literally my hands were shaking because I was the only person on planet Earth out of 8 billion people that have the ability to automate organic marketing on Facebook, right? And I was sitting on a lottery ticket, right? And I was, right? For like 3 months, I was the only person that was able to do this. And then we realized like, hey, you know what? Maybe there's more people out there that would want to use this software as well. And then we released Pepper the way she is today.
Yeah,
So
just a few
she,
people would want that, right?
yeah. So she solves all those problems, right? And so to answer your question, long-winded way to answer your question, but the short answer is what she does is the problems, and this is kind of what they say is just like the best products are built out of real world problems, right? So we had the problem of the time consumption that it takes to find the right people to connect with. Then we had the problem of sending out a welcome message and going through and sifting through all those notifications to see who accepted your friend request to send them out a welcome message. Okay. And then, the sticky notes all over our desktop, right? We had the ability to incorporate that into Pepper. So with a click of a button, you can go from speaking instead of 20 people per hour to like 100 people per hour and book more calls. And then we incorporated the CRM aspect of it inside of Pepper, so that we don't lose anybody inside of Messenger. So your Messenger leads are always, legit and the same. So that's kind of like how Pepper was born and what she does. Those are the four core features. But then, over time, she's evolved as well and has some other features that are pretty cool.
Yeah, she's definitely come a long way in the less than a year that I've used Pepper as well. So it's been really cool to see the constant changes that you guys are making on the front end and on the back end with it. Before we get into maybe showing what it looks like, if you're game for that, and giving us an inside look, which I'm sure a couple people are wondering right now. One thing I want to circle back to was the kind of process that you used while manually growing your Facebook and figuring this all out, that you could repeat client after client because you got into their head and you started noticing that, hey, these conversation flows, this isn't just a one-off thing. This can work and be repeated. I think so many coaches, consultants, agency owners, they get really caught up on how the conversation needs to be super unique and specific for everyone. And the reality is that first like 30-40% of it is almost cookie cutter and doesn't need to feel copy and paste it if you know what you're doing and come up with a script that's really you and that flows really well. I just want to kind of confirm that one of the most important things you did here before even having some software is you got into the heads of your market, understood the conversation going on, and utilized that.
I'd love to share. I can absolutely share what that looks like for us and give you guys the Messenger frameworks. You can take a screenshot of some questions to ask yourself as you're building out your own Messenger framework, and then I'll also give you an acronym to follow when you are inside of Messenger that is going to help you navigate this conversation as well. So first, remind me about the acronym, but let me go ahead and share my screen if I can, and I don't know if you guys can see this.
Yeah, totally can.
Do I have to? Can everybody see it? Okay, there it is. Okay, so yeah, maybe I should have put on the other one, but can everyone see this?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, perfect. So these are like when you're qualifying questions. Okay, when you're inside of Messenger, what you're doing is you're attempting to qualify your prospect. Okay, so this is like the funnel that we take everybody through. Okay, so these are some questions to ask yourself. When you're first starting out and you're starting out with the welcome message, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you establish common ground quickly, okay? And that you also ask an easy to answer question to identify whether or not you're speaking to the right person, the decision maker, okay? That's the first thing you want to do, okay? But once you've realized that you are speaking to the decision maker, okay, you want to see if they actually are like a hot lead. Okay, this is somebody that is interested in growing the business. Okay, do they actually want to grow their business? Okay, so in my case, I coach agency owners, and I also help as a coach. When I had a marketing agency, I would help coaches grow their coaching practice, and now as a coach, I help marketing agencies grow their agencies. Right, but either way, I'm helping somebody grow. Okay, so that's how I identify if this person is an actual lead. Do they actually even want to grow their business? Okay, and then the next thing is a goal. Okay, so where do they want to get to? We want to establish and understand, okay, what is a revenue milestone they're trying to hit this year? Okay, so that's a question that I ask frequently is, cool, do you have a revenue milestone that you're trying to hit this year? Okay, and then after that, it's just the pain, okay? What is stopping them from actually achieving whatever goal they set for themselves, okay? What's the problem of them getting there, okay? So if you're asking yourself, as you're building out your Messenger framework, if you're asking yourself these questions In this order in the conversation, okay, it's really easy to come up with your own messenger framework and your own style of questions around that, okay? But the pain is, what's the problem of them achieving that goal? And you might ask them, hey, what have you tried to help you get there, okay? Why hasn't that worked? Or do you like doing it that way? And something like that to kind of like extract the pain out of them. And then interest, finally, are they even open to your solution to help them? So for instance, if you are an agency owner and you're helping them, with Facebook ads, let's say, right? Are they even interested in Facebook ads? Or are they jaded from Facebook ads, right? Or if you're a mindset coach, okay, and when you talk about mindset, okay, being the problem for their solution, are they so focused on lead gen? I don't need mindset, I need lead gen, right? Are they even interested in your solution and what you have to offer? Okay, so those four right here, lead, goal, pain, and interest, is what I carry in, and I need to have that in every single conversation. Okay, every single conversation I do that. If you do this correctly, then you know you're speaking to the right person, the decision maker. You know that they are interested in growing the business. You know that where they want to get to, what the revenue milestone is that they want to hit, and you know what the problem they've experienced in getting there. So you know their pain points, and then finally, you know that they're even open to the solution of you helping them with that problem. Okay, so every single conversation has that. The only way that we go into these three, okay, is when your calendar is not full, okay? I'm sorry, when your calendar is full. When your calendar is full, okay, now we need to be a little bit more picky, okay, a little bit more, qualify a little bit deeper, okay? So then we shift into affordability. So can they even afford your services? You want to get how much money are they making per month right now for you to know whether or not it's a call worth taking, okay? Urgency, are they raring to go, or is this something down the line for them? Is this a few months down? Is this a few years down, right? Or is this something, a problem, this pain point that they have right here? Is this something they need to fix right now? And then finally, ability. Can anything hold them back? So you're thinking about a business partner, you're thinking about a spouse, and you're asking those questions to ask them like, hey, is there anything or any other, anything that could prevent us from having this call or being able to make a decision on the call? Some of the things I say is, if it makes perfect financial and logical sense for us to work together, right? How willing and able are you to invest in the growth of your business right now? Okay, so that's kind of like what I do. Or is there any business partners, any spouses that need to be on the call with us? Okay, so that's kind of like the framework that we take everybody through. And again, after interest, you only continue on with this if your calendar is full. Okay, otherwise, just having these 4 points will naturally lead into a booked sales call. Okay, does that make sense? Does that help?
Dude, makes total sense. Total sense.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see how it works. Like, I have a couple different ways that I show my students how to do this, and just it's kind of refreshing to hear it from a different perspective of how just important it is. Like, if you guys didn't observe while you're looking at the 7 steps, there is how important question asking, as the only talking that you're doing is, and listening, and how important that comes into play. It's like, if you know what to listen for, then you can know what to ask. And if you know what to ask, you can almost eliminate so much unnecessary back and forth and getting familiar and having the pleasantries. And when you do have someone who is wanting to grow their business and you're on the same page there, it's about just getting the way I visualize it from outside, like the sales desk or position, and having a simple conversation, which is kind of the backbone and framework of everything that we do in my Get Clients program. It's just, how do you have the right kind of conversation as frequently as possible, and how do you move it and advance the ball to where you end up on the phone with someone who is not only ready but excited and has the means of the time and the money to invest with you.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely, absolutely. And you just reminded me too about like the not having like the extra conversations, right? And that actually is talking about the acronym that we talk about, which is ART, right? So it's like the art of messenger. So it's acknowledge what somebody's saying, okay? Respond appropriately to them, and then transition back. Okay, so acknowledge, respond appropriately, transition back to your messenger framework, right? To your sales script. So the way that works is, when somebody says something, somebody pours out their heart to you. Okay, when you say, "Cool, gotcha," and then you just ask them the next question. Okay, well, you've missed a key aspect of it, which is responding appropriately. Okay, now responding appropriately doesn't mean you ask more questions for them, right? We need to transition back to the sales script. Okay, so if somebody's pouring out their heart to you and they're saying, yeah, I got this problem, I got all these different things, right? Those are open those are like exit ramps off of your highway that you want to get to. The highway is going straight towards a sales call, right? And when somebody opens up like that, they're giving all these exit ramps, okay? All these opportunities for you to get side railed, derailed, okay? And then not be able to go to your end destination, which is the booked call, okay? So we always want to respond appropriately, and we say, hey man, I hear that. A lot of people that I work with have done that as well and stuff like that, right? Or that's, hey man, that's a real big problem in this industry. I totally get what you're coming from, right? Let me ask you this, and then we transition back, okay, into your sales script, okay? So we want them to feel heard and understood, like you actually received what they said, okay, and it makes sense to you, okay? But we don't want to go, especially if I'm speaking to coaches, we don't want to go into coaching mode inside of Messenger, right? Inside of Messenger, our goal is to sell the sales call, okay? Not sell the program, not give them coaching advice, not give them whatever the case is, right? To let them know that we understand their problem. And if they can feel like we really truly understood their problem, then what happens is they will naturally believe that you have the solution for them. Okay? So all you got to do is talk about the solution, not the program. We're not trying to sell it. Okay? We're trying to talk about the solution, which is us jumping on a call together to dig a little bit deeper and see what it might look like for us to work together.
I think that's so important. It can't be overstated, bro. That the way I learned, something very similar and tangential to this is the person who's asking the questions and the person who's leading will 99% of the time, you can check that statistic somewhere, the accuracy of it, that person is seen as the subject matter expert. They're seen as having the expertise and the qualifications in order to help people get beyond that. And I think that's such an invisible underlying thing that some of my new coaches who just start implementing either Pepper or growing their Facebook organically, and the conversations piece that we teach in the Get Clients program is that they're hesitant because they can't see or feel that the other person is being led, and they're following your lead. It's up to you to not seem robotic, which is how you acknowledge and respond. I call that leaning in. It's how do you take what they're saying and you kind of expound upon it, and then you just advance the ball. You ask the next question and you make it personal, whether you're talking to a male or a female, or depending their industry and what the problems they've already stated are. But as you're doing this, they're starting to get the sense that the prospect is starting to get the sense, whether you know it or not, that wow, I think this person has something for me, or I wonder what this person has for me. And if they're willing to play along with you and they're willing to have that conversation back and forth, I think those are huge green flags to advance the ball, invite them onto a call, and just see if it's a fit. And if it's a kind of a cultural fit, for some of you guys it's a spiritual fit, and for others it's, hey, is this a goal fit? Do you have the exact goal that we can help you to solve? Because in whatever you do in your coaching business, you eat those problems for breakfast, and it's presenting that solution in a good way over the phone.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're on the same same page of how we handle conversations inside of Messenger for sure.
Absolutely. So before we get into the software, how do you recommend we kind of, any tips or pointers for how we set up our profile so that when we are creating these chats, that people are going and investigating us and kind of looking at it, like, are there any best practices for what we should have on our profile so that our conversations and our use of Pepper and Facebook organically really do hit?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great question. So first thing is, like, what I always say is, like, when somebody and you feel this way about like everything, everybody makes instant judgments on, like the people that they encounter for the very first time. Okay. So anytime you meet somebody for the very first time, like, there was literally a moment in my life where I had no idea who Tony Robbins was. Okay. Like, even over the last 4 years, right? Like, there was a moment in my life where I did not know who Tony Robbins was, right? And I started to hear people talk about him, hear people talk about all these different things, right? And I was like, let me just Google this guy, right? And then as soon as I Googled him, right, I made an instant judgment. Oh, this guy's a big deal, right? Like, I knew just because I jumped into his world and I just Googled him, whatever the case is. Oh, apparently this guy's a big deal. Okay. And that was the instant judgment call. Okay. Now everybody has a snap judgment like that when they hit your profile. Okay. So do you seem like the niche industry expert and authority in the space? Okay. Now the beautiful thing about being online, okay, is that anybody can present themselves to look like a $1 billion brand. Okay. Like, $1 million company, $1 million a year company can compete with $1 billion a year company if all the variables are equal, right, and somebody comes online to a website or to branding or whatever the case is, right, it's just attention to detail, right, and it's just making sure that the words and the images you're using, right, are top notch and inspire somebody to take a desired course of action, okay. And the beautiful thing about it is that we control all of that, okay. You can control all of that, okay. So that being said, when somebody comes into my world, okay, I want them to make a snap judgment that A, I'm an authority and an expert, okay. B, I want them to know who I serve and what I do for them, okay. So they need to know those three things, okay. One, make a snap judgment call about my character and who I am, right? Am I authority, industry, expert? And then the second thing is, who do I serve? They need to know who I serve, and they need to know what I do for them. Okay, so that's an overall theme that I want you to think about when you're looking at your profile. Okay, if you just step back and look, are these questions answered? Okay, now how that actually plays out on the micro level is the first thing is your cover photo. Okay, so when somebody comes to your cover photo, this is a perfect opportunity to take a position, to control the perception of your audience by some personal branding. If I'm speaking to coaches, okay, you need to do this, okay? Don't hide behind your logo. Don't hide behind your company brand. Don't hide behind the image you're working under, whatever the case is. People buy from people they like, they know, like, and trust, okay? You've heard that before, okay? So the thing is that God has given you your face as your God-given logo, okay? People remember faces more than they remember icons, okay? Or even names or voices, right? So if you can put yourself out on camera and you can take quality pictures of yourself, whatever the case is, and you don't have to go and get a professional photographer, you can just use your iPhone or use your Galaxy phone, whatever the case is, to take photos of yourself and put yourself out there, okay? Because people want to see that face, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is when you're putting yourself out there like that, right? Make sure you are presentable, approachable. Make sure it matches your brand and your reputation that you want to portray in the marketplace. Mine is that of smiling, okay? So very, very infrequently will you ever see a picture of me somewhere where I'm not smiling, okay? Because I want to be known as approachable, like, oh, dude, I like that guy, right? Like that's what I want to be known as. So when somebody comes onto my profile, they in my cover photo, okay, they see me as an authority, okay. They see my 2 Comma Club award. They see the background image of me speaking in front of a whole bunch of people, and then they see what I do for them, right, with the text on there, and then I give them a call to action in the cover photo, okay. So that's an example. The other thing, another way to do it is your 1-sentence mic drop, okay. So your 1-sentence mic drop is just clearly telling people what it is that you do and who you serve. Okay, so I help entrepreneurs start and scale digital marketing agencies to 6 and 7 figures. Okay, that's what I do. Okay, so now people know I serve marketing agencies and I help them scale to 7 figures. Okay, that's what they get. So that's another way to do it. And that's a little bio section that Facebook gives you. Okay, the other things you can do is and everybody has a different type of Facebook and stuff like that. Facebook is giving different people different types of profiles, but for me, I had a featured photo there. If you go onto my mobile version on my Facebook, you should be able to see, depending on your Facebook, right? You should be able to see different featured photos, those 9 photos that it gives you, that little grid of those 9 boxes that you can choose. Well, that's my credibility authority building photos. It gives you an exact example of the type of person I am at a glance. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I have 9 of them, okay? So when somebody just goes through that 9 grid, they say, okay, wow, so he's a believer in Christ. Okay, wow, he's a family man. Okay, cool. Like, oh, he's a speaker as well. Okay, cool. Look, his clients are getting results and awards and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of like the snap judgment call that I'm trying to for somebody to come to my Facebook profile for the very first time. I want them to get that image alone. Okay, the story highlights as well. You can do story highlights. When somebody watches my story highlights, they go through a reel of a bunch of different photos and content, my best content, some of the stories of like clients having results and all these different things, okay, that I want people to get as soon as they get there. Okay, and then the other thing is the biggest thing I should say, I probably should have started with this, right? But I'll end with this, is your profile picture. Okay, so if you think of anything, any platform, okay, whether it is Facebook or any platform, okay, if there's somebody that has provided value to you or somebody that you're even remotely interested in, the very first thing you do is you go into their profile, and the first thing you do there is you click on their profile picture and you swipe to the right, okay? Because you want to see the person that they are, okay? So when somebody clicks on your profile picture, if you were to click on mine, okay, you'll see a story, okay? And the way that Facebook, optimizes your Facebook profile and everything like that, it gives you 1 or 2 or 3 lines worth of copy and then see more. Okay, and then when people click that see more, then you get to see the rest of the text. Okay, so for me, I wanted to make sure that I had a high quality, high resolution image there where it's approachable of me, okay, and people can like see me smiling and see me attracted, right? Like, hey, you know what? That guy's smiling. I like that guy, okay. But the image, okay, the actual story that goes along with that image, okay, it's a story of my rags to riches story, okay. So and the way that it starts off with those 3 lines of text is I want them to click that see more button. So when somebody comes there, I have to write something that they cannot stop reading. Okay, so the first thing that I write is something along the lines, and I haven't changed it for years, but something along the lines of, when I was a kid, I grew up living in Queens, New York. Okay, and I remember coming to home one night with something absolutely disgusting. Okay, at 10 o'clock at night, my dog Bruno had was chewing a rat or something like that, right? And chewing a rat to pieces or something, right? That's what people see when they go onto my profile picture, and then obviously they're going to click on see more, and they get to read the rest of the text, right? And it's a rags to riches story. This is where I was, okay? This is where I am now. These are the people who helped me get there, okay? And this is a very inspirational story. So when somebody reads that, which I want them to do, when somebody reads that, they say, you know what? I instantly like this guy. Okay, so I'm leveraging my social media profile in a way that builds that know, like, and trust instantly right out of the gate. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm on high ground when somebody comes in and interacts with me for their very first time.
It's every single one of these things that you've shared here so far is absolutely mission critical, whether you're using software or you're actively growing your Facebook. If you have getting clients and landing clients, making money off of social media as an objective. And what I'm hearing and what I'm taking away as I'm taking notes over here is that when you stack all of the odds in your favor, when you do all of these things right, you're going to increase the percentage and likelihood that when someone does land on your profile, they get that Tony Robbins effect that you were talking about. They make the snap judgment, and maybe the snap judgment is just to click on your profile photo or to click on your cover photo and to actually read the call to action out, or to go into it and start swiping through photos and to read some of those captions that you have there. Like, the more strategic you're getting with all of this, and the more that you're fine tuning it in the direction of what you'd like that snap judgment to be, the easier of a time you're going to have landing clients and getting them interested in you, which can start the sales process before you're even aware of it, because people are just diving through on your profile every day.
100%, and it's so critical to optimize your social media profile, especially when you're using Pepper, because when you send out those welcome messages, it becomes a numbers game, right? It's just the quantity of it, and it becomes a numbers game. You got to play the game. But what happens is you'll notice your positive welcome message response rate skyrockets when you have your social media profile optimized in that way, right? When someone sends you a message and they see you as an authority, okay, like instantly what happens when somebody gets a DM, they feel like you're a salesperson, right? But what happens is when somebody goes into your DM and you are positioned as an expert, now they want to spend time with you. Yeah, absolutely. Come into my world. They're willing to open up to you, right? So it's like just, it's what we're doing on virtual is what life is like outside of, offline, right? So like if somebody knocks on your door and there's a salesperson dressed up in a suit and stuff like that, right, trying to stick their foot in the door, right, and try to sell you something, okay, you immediately want to slam the door in their face, okay? But if somebody comes in and says like, hey, I was visiting the bathroom here and stuff like that, I'm looking for this person and stuff like that, I'm a coach, I'm an expert around blah, 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 happens to be your business, okay? Then what happens is they're like, hey, okay, cool. What do you do? Where are you from? Like, blah, 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 all these different things. And they want to open up, right? They want some of your time so you can speak into their business and give them some free knowledge, if you will, right? So yeah, it's just that it's just really controlling the perception of your audience and how you want people to see you. You don't want them to see you as a salesperson. You want them to see you as an expert, right? So as an expert, people chase you. When you're a salesperson, you chase people, and that gets them to run.
Such a major kind of differential in between the two, and how one of the two gets set up. And this will change the response you get as you start to use Pepper and as she starts to go to work for you. Now, if you're watching this and you're really eager to check out Pepper, I've set up a 14-day trial. The guys over at Dream Big and Franco and his team have been extremely generous to offer a 14-day trial for anybody who's excited about this and looking to get clients. Just go to jeremymontoya.me/Pepper. I'll put this back up here in a few minutes, but Franco, would love to just see a little bit of a dive in from your perspective for what Pepper is, how it looks, and how it all works, so we can tie this all together real nicely.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me go ahead and share my screen, okay? And I'll kind of walk you through. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. So I'm just in a Facebook group, right? So you just want to make sure that you're looking into the Facebook group where people have, where you know has your dream client. So in this case, right, I'm a coach for agency owners, and this is a high level community. Everything your agency needs to succeed. Who is on here, right? We bring all things you need to solve your digital agency problems in one place, right? Agency owners are in here, okay? So all you do is go into the members area, okay? And if you're here, if you're just starting out with Pepper, what I would recommend, highly recommend you do is go into the members with things in common area. Okay. So if you click on see all right here, it'll be members with things in common. Okay. And it'll actually bring you to all of the different people that you have mutual friends with. Okay. Now, this just by itself is going to increase your positive response rate because they're going to see that you guys have mutual friends and you're not a stranger. Okay. And it's also going to make the common ground aspect of the welcome message you send out be very easy to respond to. Hey, I came across your profile. Okay, makes sense because we have all these mutual friends. Pepper is a Chrome extension over here. Okay, and so if you've ever been in Facebook jail, okay, the way that Facebook jail works is that Facebook puts you in jail whenever you are doing too much of something too fast. So what we've done, the way that we've designed Pepper, is we put internal limitations on her. As entrepreneurs, we want to make money quickly on Facebook. We don't just want to make money on Facebook. We want to make money quickly on Facebook, right? Which gets us into trouble because Facebook is like, yo, slow down. I don't want you using Facebook like that. So instead, we say, okay, we want to make money quickly on Facebook without doing the work. Okay. And that's how Pepper helps. So what's cool is that we can send out up to 50 friend requests a day. Okay. So that's one of the limitations. And then the message templates. Okay. I would choose if I'm looking for agency owners. Well, in this space, in this group, I am looking for agency owners. So you can click on the keywords that I'm going to have Pepper search for. And all I do is click send friend request, and that's it. So what's going to happen is that she's going to navigate this community here, and then she is going to automatically start, searching for where she picked up off last. Okay, so you can see here she's just searching, and we've used this a lot and stuff like that. So I don't know how long it's going to take for her to go through this. So I'll probably just stop it here, and I'm actually going to go into like a different and just go to the regular members section here, and so I can just show you how it looks like. Okay, so I'll just go here instead of the members of things in common, and I'm just click send to all members, so you can actually see her. Just go ahead and like click send friend request out, so you can see how it works. So here she's going to go ahead and start the process, and you can see she is in the background looking for this person. Right now over here, it's just the way that we've designed Pepper is because we want you to be using your mouse. Okay, so we want to imitate as human nature as possible what is going on, so that Facebook doesn't know anything at all. Okay, so right there, she maybe she just did that, and the reason, like, I don't have a keyword set for joined, but the only reason why that she did that is because I clicked send to all members. Okay. Now, what's really cool is that we actually have a randomized timer between 3 and 5 minutes, down to the millisecond, where she has to wait, okay, and put on pause before she can send out the next friend request. Okay. And this is important because this is going to keep you out of Facebook jail. Okay. So that's kind of the friend request feature. So now I don't have to, worry about, anything that, Facebook is, or that I'm filling up my friend requests with the right people. Okay. So yeah, that's the friend request feature here. Okay. But the message templates, if we go into the dashboard, you can kind of see the keywords that we're using. Okay. So over here, these are the keywords that we're actually using: marketing, media, agency, digital strategist, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Right. These are how people are self-identifying themselves on Facebook. Okay. And by doing that, that is allowing her to skip certain people and to add only the people that we know are going to be the right fit clients for us. Okay, so getting high quality leads. The second aspect of it is sending welcome messages. Okay, so over these agency owners, what's happening is like she sent out all these friend requests. Now, we wanted to make sure that we are not sending friend requests to people who have not yet accepted our friend request. Okay, or I'm sorry, we're not sending messages to people who have not yet accepted our friend request. And the reason why is because it will go into the spam folder. Okay, and it doesn't matter how optimized your social media profile is. Okay, Okay. If you end up in the spam folder, guess what? You're spam. Okay. So here, what she's doing is she's searching for the people that have actually accepted our friend request. Okay. And I set up a demo version for you guys. So I don't know if she's going to actually be able to find anybody that actually accepted our friend request here. But if she does, she's going to show it here inside of this, framework here. In this little speech bubble. So Ryan, okay, so Ryan, she's going to send a conversation to him. She's going to tell you the message template that she's going to send to him, which is this. Hey, what's going on? Came across your profile. And you'll notice for Ryan, it's going to have his first name as well. Okay. So in this case, this is awesome. I forget his name, man. That sucks. Or his last name rather. But over here, what happened was where it said detected sent messages. That means she doesn't want to get you in trouble either. She doesn't want to make you look foolish, right? So what she did was, okay, Pepper sent out the friend requests. I must have sent out the friend request a while back. Ryan accepted it, and then Ryan reached out to me. Okay, and so Ryan started the conversation with me. And because Ryan started the conversation with me, Peppers sees that and says, okay, we're not going to send out this message template to him. We're going to skip over him, okay, because he already reached out to us. We don't want to look foolish, okay? So instead, she's sending a message out to Brad Jones, okay, and with his first name. Hey, Brad, what's going on? You can see how it was sent, right? And so now, if I click over here into Messenger, you're going to be able to see, the conversation with Brad right here, okay? And that's what Pepper just did. Okay. So Pepper just did this and that was it. So now Brad is going to be, whenever he sees it, he's going to see it and then respond back to me. Okay. So just think of the power behind this. Okay. I'm going off to date night on a Wednesday night. Okay. At 6:00 and I'm just letting Pepper run. She's going to be sending out 50 friend requests a day for me. She's going to be sending out 20 welcome messages a day. I come home from date night, tuck my kids into bed, and then go to sleep. And I wake up, there's 18 people. Okay, there's like 18 people that she sent out a message to, and that 13 of them responded back to me positively. Okay, so it's pretty powerful. So yeah, there's that. And then I can, the next thing I can do is I can show you inside of Messenger the CRM. Okay, which is really cool. If I click right here, actually, let me go into canned responses first. Okay. So if you guys remember the conversation, let's assume for a second that Brad Jones, okay, reached out to me. Okay. So Brad Jones says, hey, yes, you know what? I do have an agency. Okay, cool. Then all I would have to do, these are the sticky notes that I had all over my desktop. Okay. So under my welcome messages, right, I would just send him this. Cool. Have you been in the game a little while? And literally with just a click of my button, it just came down here. Okay, so let me try that again so you guys can see it. Okay, if he asks, hey, how's your agency doing, right? I can just click on that. Hey, we've been pretty fortunate to have had some good success in our agency already. I'm very fortunate to say. That's my acknowledge, respond appropriately. And then I'm going to transition back into my next message. Would you say you're in the early building phase of your agency or you're looking to scale now, right? So just think of the power behind that. Okay, it's just like with clicks of a button, I know exactly what I need to say to these people, okay, because I've had the same conversation for 4 years, okay? So it's really powerful because now we can just speak to all these people all at once. The other thing, yeah, cool. So I know that we're here and stuff like that. So do you have any questions on this so far, Jeremy? Does anyone?
No questions just yet. I have a lot of feedback from folks saying that it was extremely helpful so far, seeing the funnel structure that you leverage. They've seen all of my hand sketch drawings and things like that. So that seemed pretty helpful so far, and just kind of seeing how that flow all looks. And I think that a lot of people are just like me over here taking notes on what you're sharing with how to optimize a profile, and then also how to navigate. Like I learned, I did not know that I could have Pepper focus in on members who have something in common. I was just letting it go to members and then hitting Pepper and letting it run. Didn't know that I could go to members and comment, and now it's going to only send people. I see a bunch of folks who have 170, 250 friends in common. I just think that's such a better way to start a relationship off.
Yeah, 100%. Super powerful, especially when you're just starting to use Pepper for the very first time. I would highly recommend that because you'll fly extra underneath the radar from Facebook because you'll be like, oh, you guys have 170 mutual friends. Of course, you would be connected, right? So it's pretty powerful. I can show the CRM as well if you wanted to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Go ahead and if you can, yeah, perfect. So okay, so so this that's obviously a little bit of a glitch. I have a development version right now, so this is something my team sent me. So that's obviously not right, but either way, you'd be able to see yeah, this right here, and you can see like kind of drop down. So right now we have a display issue right here on my version because I forgot to upload it to the new one before this, unfortunately. But so I'll get that fixed. But either way, you'll be able to see the different tags that we have currently right here. So the way that we describe this is like if somebody's a new friend right now, this is the lead right in that funnel framework that we have. So new friend, okay, and then we move them over into initial lead. So new friends are people that and you guys can just like see how we do this here. But new friends are people that we actually sent out. Pepper sent out a connection with. Okay, so Brad would be a new friend, and then when he says, "Hey, I do have an agency. I'm speaking to the right person," that's an initial lead. Okay, and then we move him into a hot lead whenever he says, "Hey, yes, I am interested in growing." Okay, and you can see how it follows through, and then finally we book a call. Right, we book a call with him. Okay, so there's a booked call, and then under a deposit, okay, we collecting a deposit from him, and then from there we sign him up as a client, or we do a three-step follow-up. Okay, so we follow up for 3 days, and then we move him into lost leads. Okay, that's how that works. And then, but the way that we design this is such that we wanted to advance the sales pipeline, and we didn't want to have multiple tags or anything like that because it was supposed to be like a true CRM where we are advancing the sales pipeline and we can follow up with those people as well. And the other cool thing is that you can actually, in the tags that you saw under lost leads, you can actually even remove friends. So if you think of like all the people that, you can think of all the people that in your CRM tag that you're classifying as a lost lead. When you do that, what will happen is you can remove them in bulk, which is really, really cool. And again, I don't have this is a over guys, so I don't have it. It's not the one that I actually use because that one has a billion people because I've used it since October 2019, and I just set up this as a demo for you guys. But which is why you got that dumb thing. But anyway. That's my bad. I should have prepared before this interview. I didn't update it.
I think that goes to show though that like how frequently and how often you guys have your finger on the pulse and you're making changes as you guys go. And I think that that's super important when it comes to this sort of software because guys, think of how much Facebook is constantly changing. And not only just the algorithm, but the appearance and the dark mode and the changing little nuanced things that you might never notice unless you're using that aspect of Facebook every single day. Like I think in January, the sort by unread function in Messenger went away, which just made my life so much harder as I was doing all this. And I saw some people, they lost it a couple months before or a month or two before. And so because of that, Franco and the team over at Dream Big that work on Pepper, they're constantly updating these things. He's getting updates on his desktop, sounds like daily or weekly, that are making these small tweaks and changes so that it's easier. So
yeah,
I think that just says a lot.
So you know what the dumbest thing is that I said like, hey, I want this extension to me today because I have this interview with Jeremy, right? And then right before this call, I had a coaching call for 2 hours, and so I didn't get the chance to see it or review it or something like that, right? But that's why that happened.
Hey, that happens, and I think they can kind of see. I think the most important part is when you're in Messenger, how you're interacting with that little drop-down menu that it adds, and then you can kind of choose the level of the lead. That's the part you're going to be interacting with most often, and of course. Pepper and the team have really good documented libraries of trainings for each phase of this, for setting up your initial welcome message, for how do you set the Pepper plugin up correctly with the most updated version of Chrome, because that's always changing, and then also how do you set the CRM up and best practices. So any support you need, like I'm constantly in there learning when updates come out, watching those videos, and like I don't even bother to walk my students through that when we give them Pepper in the 14-day trial, because you can just so easily go in there and look at the most updated recent training that you guys have inside of there.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. We actually also too have 2 Zoom calls every single week, right? And so this is something that we wanted to make sure is like, I learned this from my earliest mentor Russell Brunson. It's just like one of the things that he constantly says is like, hey, if I can't make you money, then I don't deserve yours, right? So we have this 14-day free trial, and our goal is to help you get a client within that time frame so that you can actually go and Pepper pays for itself. You fall in love. I want you to fall in love with Pepper and just use it and just love it and just continue to grow and really, really reap the rewards from people actually building 6- and 7-figure businesses using Pepper. So our goal is to make sure that you're able to jump on. We can help you get onboarded quickly. We can help you troubleshoot if anything. We can help you with your optimization creation of your social media profile. We help you with like anything that revolves like creating your messenger framework and like finding the right Facebook groups, whatever the case is. We want you to have success. So that's kind of like our thought process is around making sure like how we deal with our customers.
Absolutely. And whether or not you already have constant lead flow from a social media source, Facebook aside, or you're running paid traffic, I think this is just such a good way to pack your profile with that audience of prospects who have the exact problems that you can solve. Like, I think this is such an absolute no-brainer when it comes to growing your business. You get a 14-day trial to get started with it, to see how it works, and if it works for your business, and if you're just on top of it daily, I know it will. The second thing you get is an amazing team supporting you every step of the way. Anytime I've had any sort of issue or question, or any of my students have, I just direct them over to your Zoom calls or to message and support. And you guys are very quick about, 9 times out of 10, I get a video back, even when it wasn't called for, with, hey, check this out, or hey, I saw this and that, and even like a tip or two with feedback for how to take this even further. Now, the link I do have up on the screen is an affiliate link. I get a small kickback when you do sign up for that. I can't recommend it enough. My students who are here live know that I use this in my business still to this day. I'm at 2,500 followers, working my way towards that 5K, and it's such an essential piece when we're starting off any of our new coaches or course creators for getting organic leads and sales very quickly off of Facebook and navigating them with the right conversation flow and framework to get there. So Franco, I just want to say just a super big thanks for taking an hour out of your day for coming in and chopping it up with us, sharing with us how it works, how everything kind of goes. I guess from your experience as an entrepreneur and successful businessman, any kind of last tips or words of advice for folks watching here today?
Yeah, I would say, and you reminded me of, like what I would say, and I wouldn't normally say this, except for our interview, right? You reminded me of like in my story at the very beginning, okay, like how we got here today, okay, and I would just say, don't give up, okay. Like you hear, like everybody has to have this rags to riches story. Why do you hear like so many successful entrepreneurs have these rags to riches story? Okay, it's typically, and in some cases, like my case included, okay, it's not necessarily that they're starting off at ground zero. It's that they haven't developed the skills that they needed, okay, and they didn't have enough of a financial runway to be able to develop the skills that they need in order to get good and get this thing to work, right? So developing skills takes time, okay? And if you don't have the financial runway, then what happens is everything, like in my case, okay, I had $18,000 in the bank, okay? My rags to riches story doesn't really sound so great because I started with 18K and now I'm here, okay? It's like it was 18K and then we brought it down to zero, was doing all the wrong things, okay? And then, and I don't know if I froze, I was doing all the wrong things, okay? And then finally, what I decided was when I had that fork in the road and I said, should I go and get a job or should I get this thing to work and live off of credit? What I ended up doing was getting a mentor, living off of credit, and then finally staying in the game long enough to get good for it to actually grow and to get to where I'm at in life. So I would say, don't give up, okay? This thing is going to work for you, okay? So long as you keep focused and you keep dialed in into what you're at, okay, and what you're doing and what your focus is, okay? If you keep chasing after it and you tune out all the voices of everybody telling you that it's not going to work, whatever the case is, you just focus on you want in life, okay? Then you're going to be able to get there. Just stay in the game long enough to get good, okay? That's my advice to everybody.
That's extremely powerful, and that hits it hard. I think that's the perfect way to wrap this up. So brother, thank you so much for hopping on with us, for giving us the breakdown, for sharing your wisdom, sharing with us this tool. I know you have a baby that just came into this world, a family to get to, and business to run. So I think that's a perfect place for us to wrap up. I can't wait to get other folks a replay of this and to share it out. Again, super big thanks to you for being on here with us, brother. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone else as well for having me on. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. See you again next week.
Bye.